Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Mohit Impact. Today we are looking into a thought experiment known as the hedonistic machine. I'm sorry, it's called the experience machine. So, what I intended to take out of this thought experiment or this discussion in philosophy was for to explore this certain thought process about this idea, which was so the idea is like uh, it's a bit of exploration towards existentialism. Existentialism is like the study of what does human or individuals or human beings as a whole do when we are like thrown into this world, or which yeah, like I am not sure about what the definition of existentialism is in the textbook, but as far as I see it, in my opinion, it is about what do human beings do once they are in a put in the world and they find that life may not seem to be having any meaning. Once you take away all the all the past traditional stories don't work for them anymore. So one of the how this discussion or thought process came about for me is when I was listening to this podcast with Sam Harris and this philosopher named David Benatar. So they have this they have this discussion about David Benatar's book Better to Never Have Been. So it's a purely a philosophical text where David Benatar argues that uh, he proves, or he tries to make a proof that okay, he tries to make a case for life is so bad that it's not worth living, and it's not worth progressing, or okay, his philosophy is known as antinatalism, where he advocates on not having any kids, as in human beings do not have any progenitors. You stop with we just stop making human beings. So his argument is that no matter what you do, uh, like it's the suffering is not worth living through life. There have been many arguments against this, and one of them is like Jordan B. Peterson. Like that's why I got interested with Jordan B. Peterson's point of view, because he had a debate with David Benatar. So it's a pretty interesting because Jordan B. Peterson also said that this kind of thinking would eventually lead to a very dangerous mode of thinking or ideology. So almost he compares it to like a totalitarian kind of journey towards that. Right. Yeah. It sounds it's a very pretty sounds a very depressing philosophical text, and I would not recommend anybody to read it. Okay, it's not like a recommendation at all. Like that's one of those books I would recommend. But hey, like if you're an adventurous philosophical person, you could go check out David Benatar, and if while you're at it, you can also check out. I think it's a slightly much better written book, or much more readable. Is Thomas Ligotti's The Conspiracy Against the Human Race. It's the same, almost the same shtick, except Thomas Ligotti is a horror writer, so he has that kind of experience to write about this stuff. Um, the existential dread or horror that comes with this kind of an exploration of this idea. And either way, that's I didn't come here to talk about antinatalism. What I came here to talk about is Sam Harris and David Benatar. They had this discussion about the hedonistic machine or the experience machine. So the experience machine is like an a derivative, I would say, of the thought experiment by Rene, which was proposed by Descartes, where you put a brain in like a vat. Sorry, you put a brain in a vat, and like some scientist or whatever is like stimulating the parts of the brain and making you see a sort of reality. So your reality is just your brain impulses. So none of this is like real. So that's one of the reasons, like my background is the Matrix, to allude to that reality, questioning reality basically. So David Benatar and Sam Harris, they are having this discussion. Like Sam Harris is trying to see, trying to discover if there is at any point of time is it possible to make life worth living, and it's like both of them end up in like intellectual dead end or a philosophical dead end, because Sam Harris cannot penetrate further with this reasoning, because even Sam Harris is like he's into Buddhist philosophy, and the first one of the first noble truths of Buddhism is life is suffering because of dissatisfaction, and the way to like get through dissatisfaction in the next couple of noble truths is through meditation, vipassana and stuff. So with this, Sam Harris poses a question. So if there is at no point we uh, you would choose to go forward with life, is it possible if you put that guy in the hedonistic machine, like the experience machine? So the experience machine is just the same as the brain in the vat thought experiment, except what happens this time is like you only stimulate parts of the brain for you to feel only the good stuff, the best, your life's best hits. Almost like you're in paradise. Like it's arguable what it would look like, how this paradise would look like. Will there be any kind of challenge? Will it be like Dostoevsky's Crystal Palace, where everything is taken care of and people just end up eating cakes and procreating? So it depends, because Dostoevsky's Crystal Palace is from Notes from the Underground. It's considered to be the first existential novel where he talks about if at all humans did build a utopia like a Crystal Palace, because at the time the Crystal Palace was like looking into the future and what a progress would look like in that era, like 19th century. So human beings would just rebel, and they would break the Crystal Palace just to like feel something, because um human beings are not piano keys according to Dostoevsky, and in that regard human beings are not helicopters, like where they are like intricate machines or whatever, in an ontological point of view if you come from there. But the trying to explore Benatar's, okay, again, just to remind you, like ontology is the study of being. Like when I say being, it's how you experience the world or how you view, interpret the knowledge in some ways. Okay, I'm sorry. How you would interpret knowledge would be something else, but uh, I'm down with the definitions, guys. So let's just say it's the study of being. So when it comes to David Benatar's study of being, I don't think I can I can like go into the depth of where he's really coming from, but it is for certain, like his ontology would point of view is that human beings are victims. They're in a conspiracy, and the human race is being dealt bad deal. So okay, back to Sam Harris's question. Sam Harris' question is that, hey, what if like a guy is put in a hedonistic machine where he only experiences pleasure? He's born and he dies, and in between he experiences pleasure. Like, would that be worth living? And so to this, like I think David Benatar gets stumped in this question, because that thought experiment, I think they took that thought experiment to the next level. Before this, the thought experiment was just like a very interesting thought experiment, and the human being would just like, even the guy who came up with the thought experiment was Norvik. And he also proposed, like he also concluded that um, you would not choose to live in a reality which was where you don't get to like learn something new, if the reality kept giving you a pleasure stimulus. So I think when it came to that, if would it be worth to just bring human beings out there, put them in a hedonistic machine, and but then that would call into question like why is there human being getting created in the first place? So again, this is like the Matrix problem. I mean, the problem in the movie The Matrix. Okay, because um, according to the laws of thermodynamics, right? Like you having human beings and take use their bioelectricity to generate power or electricity in that universe or in that matrix world. like it would like there is no way you can conserve that kind of energy without losing it some to friction. So because you need energy to maintain the human too, right? So uh yeah, that I'm digressing. So it would have been much, it would have made more sense. Like somebody posted on Reddit that if they use human beings as like servers, like for internet, interconnectivity, and use their brains for whatever the machine needed to like solve some kind of problem, it needed more processing power, and it is using human brains for like wetware computers, right? I don't want to keep on rambling. I want to keep this short.